Welcome to the 7th documentation. This time I think I have something to show which can really illustrate the progress and what I am doing. I'm making these recordings in order to illustrate in real life something that I have written about, and said in short, it's the ability of the human consciousness to self-heal. So this is actually recorded to maybe inspire some of you out there who know what it is like to have your personal abilities hidden or somehow judged unworthy. And as I've mentioned before, when I was 19, something happened to me, and now where I can really begin to sense how much I am really able to play the piano, I can say that what I experienced in the age of 19 was something that I can only term a verbal and emotional execution. And normally we don't operate with the idea that other people can hurt each other verbally or emotionally, but that's possible, so that you really disappear from yourself. And now I'm almost 71, and I'm just beginning to wake up. Said in short, when I was 19, one could say that I was thrown out of my body in a way. And at the same time, the piano was thrown out of its body, if you see what I mean, within my mind, in my head. So that I had neither contact with myself nor with the piano. So when I tried to practice this distance between me and myself, and the distance to the piano and what the piano was all about, made it impossible to practice. But what's happening now is that the connection between me and myself is being tightened as a string you're pulling in, and at the same time the piano is coming closer. This means that instead of being able to play more and more notes in a rapid sequence or within a short frame of time, I'm getting a better ability to actually get in contact with the sound. I'm getting a fundament. I am hearing more overtones, and I'm able to get a much broader and more sonority-like sound out of the piano. And the interesting thing is that this is actually carrying the technique, so that the technique is not me trying to play a lot of notes after each other. The technique is growing out of my likewise growing contact with the piano. I'll try to demonstrate this, and as I usually do, I will probably only hit half of the notes, but you shouldn't bother, because I can assure you this will happen. And what I can see now, and this is why I term it verbal and emotional execution, is that I am really born with the ability to play the piano in such a way that I am gradually feeling some kind of anger because somebody really prevented me from doing that. And what is coming out now slowly is great, wonderful, and there's so much to come. I can start with a very, very simple example. When you strike a note on the piano, it has some overtones. There are the tones are making connection with each other, and in some composition it's very clear that it's not enough just to play the notes. You have to have some kind of quality in your touch. You have to be able to make the tone sing in some way that makes it meaningful. A friend of mine, the pianist Angelo Milani, has made a wonderful transcription of Dido's Lament from Dido and Aeneas by Purcell, and he has made a wonderful recording of that on his CD, and he's given me the notes as a birthday present, and I'll just play the first few bars. This is a piece of music where it doesn't help if you just play it slowly, because then it's just some slow notes. You have to get meaning in every note in order to get the atmosphere. I'll try to do that. That again. Something like that. Another example, the beginning of the César Franck violin sonata. And I'm not sure I hit the right notes. This has something to do with, what is it called when ordblindhed, hvad hedder det på engelsk?
Dyslexia.
If you have dyslexia, I have some similar problem with reading the music, and this is because of the lack of contact. So I can practice and practice and practice, still play wrong notes. But gradually I'm coming closer to myself, and the wrong notes are fewer. But I can try to make, this is an incredible sound that César Franck has made in the beginning of this sonata. And if you just play the notes, it doesn't make sense. You have to have the overtone interplay also. There's another example where I am sometimes lucky to hit the notes, where it's not enough you play forte in the Mussorgsky pictures of an exhibition, because if you can't get these especially ringing sound within the forte, then you can't get the attention of the audience, or you're not preparing the audience for a walk through an entire exhibition. So let me just try the beginning here. can get the idea of what I'm talking about here. I will now try to make a few cross examples where I play a little bit of something which I played the last time, and then the way it sounds now. And let me begin with the Liszt Sonata, which I'm not getting tired of trying to get some kind of impact over or through or behind or something. And it is very, very satisfying music. And there's this difference between playing notes after each other and then contacting the row of overtones inside the notes, that when you play, for instance, the beginning of the sonata, these octaves, they're not just octaves, that's a chord. So I can play it a little bit differently. And one day I know I will be able to play again the Chopin study. Not just as a row of notes, but as a wonderful C major chord, like here. And then broaden out in the size of Chopin. But let me try this. And let me tell you also that today I'm slightly nervous. Maybe you can hear that. And this has a very special reason. Because not only is there a tradition saying that this way, this route or path that I've chosen is not possible to choose that, but inside me I have the same protest, so that I'm not really fighting the matter. I'm fighting some kind of allegation that this is not possible, which means that something in me will all the time want to satisfy you who are looking by being able to play a bunch of notes without any mistakes, while I'm trying to illustrate that the music is growing from within, so that the fundament in my ability to contact the piano will all by itself create the technique. And it's already doing that. And maybe you can see it when I illustrate it with these cross references. Let me just find the notes here. Like this. And first, here is how the Liszt Sonata sounded the last time. And now it sounds like this. Take that once again. There's a difference. It's a slow progress, but it's there. The last time I played also, and I played that a couple of times, the opening of Ravel's Gaspard de la Nuit. And I'm still not there, but I'm closer. If you're able to play every overtone of every note, then there will be a sonority and an interplay between the tones, so that I can hear when I play it that the image of gentle summer rain on the window is combined with the fact that you can actually hear the chords in another way than if you just play as a rhythm. But if I can't play it completely in the right tempo yet, but maybe you can get an idea. Last time I played it, it sounded like this. And now it's like this. Take that once again. As you can hear, I can't play it yet, but maybe you can begin to hear some of the sonority. And I am really not making this up. The ability to play this in full scale comes from the increased contact between me and myself and me and the piano, and not through practicing. I can give you another example of this sonority. I have a number of times played the Chopin F major ballad, and there's this presto con fuoco place, where if I play it a little bit slower, then I can maybe illustrate that that these are huge chords. It's not just a lot of notes after each other, but there's some kind of orchestral sonority underneath. I'll not go any further with that, but I can hear it. I hope you can. I've played also, last time I played a bit of Schumann's Waltz-Szenen, and then it sounded like this. And now there's a little more sonority, which sounds like this. Once more. Once more. Let it stay there. And I also played parts of a few bars from Schubert's sonata in A major. And also here you may be able to hear the progress. It's very interesting today because it is as if I have reached some kind of line within myself where I feel that when I transgress that line, then I will really be able to play. And this makes me nervous because I'm not there yet, which feels as if there inside me is some kind of resistance. Maybe you know that from other parts of life. I once had so that when I gave lectures, when I talked to people, then some voice in me all the time said, whatever you say, it's total rubbish, all the time. And it's like, if you imagine you are trying to dial a number on the telephone and somebody's shouting different numbers in your head at the same time. So today, while I'm playing, there's a resistance that wasn't there the other times. And I think this is because I'm actually getting somewhere. And here you get the beginning of the A major sonata. The last time it was like this. And now it's a bit different. I will also this time play just a little bit of the second movement, which again I'm not able to play it because Schubert had such a detailed sense of the difference between major and minor and tiny subtle differences in shades and changes of chords. And this means that until I can play this with total consciousness in all fingers, you won't get the right idea. And some of this is incredibly beautiful. And if I try to play it as if it's beautiful, then it loses its meaning. But if I try to play it with some kind of sonority sound, then some completely different world is underneath. Still, bear in mind, I'm probably only hitting half of the notes. so I'll stop here. I also, long time ago, I was able, without problem, to play the entire sonata without a single mistake. But as I said, I was cut down, and now I'm like somebody learning to walk slowly. Also, there's a little bit of the last movement which I still am able to play. And there are some 16th here which can be played as if it's the tiny feet of Tinkerbell or elves, and I don't want to play it like that. I want to have every note should have some substance, which makes it a completely different thing. Today you won't. Obey me today. To give you an idea. I don't think I want to illustrate so much more, because what I was trying to do today is to give you these examples of some new kind of sonority. And this also makes it possible for me to variate the sound much more. I played just a few bars of the Bach prelude, where I'm now able to swing it in exactly the direction I want when I hear it. When I go over the other pieces I normally play, just give you very brief examples today. The sound is completely different, and because I'm only concentrated now really on getting this sonority, then I don't mind all the wrong notes. But let me just begin this Rachmaninoff prelude again, and maybe you can hear that the notes are much more, they're not just repeated notes after each other, but it's much more a chord, an entity, entirety, what you call it, collection of overtones. And the same goes for the two Chopin ballads. I will end this session as I have done all the other times with Grieg's Wedding on Trollhaugen. And I have to run the risk that you're getting bored and he's always playing the same things. Well, that doesn't really matter because I'm studying some kind of progress and this is just a test piece. And again, I'm not trying to be modest in a false way that I might hit only half of the notes, but I'm sure you can hear that something is actually changing. That was not so bad. Thank you for listening.